everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm continuing a small series that I'm doing on preparing for your author career, essentially. And this video is specifically about how do you pick your author photo. Think about your branding, think about your image, think about your genre. All of this will play a part in what you do. But how many of you remember taking senior photos for high school? You probably had a fancy photo shoot and you had like 6 or 7 that you could choose from, and you got them printed in little wallet size for your family to take, to send out to your family, etc. Think of your author photo very similarly to that. You want to be natural, relaxed, engaging. You want to look friendly. Maybe you want to look friendly, depending on your genre. Maybe you want to look smart. Maybe you want to just pick a really good photo of yourself. But in the age of social media, it's become difficult to figure out exactly which photo you should use. And I'm here to tell you that the photo you use should not be the one that you've used as your Facebook profile picture. Most likely. I mean, you might have chosen a good one, but let's just talk about some of the things that really would make an author photo a good photo for you to choose. So, first of all, like I said, you want it to be relaxed and natural. Outdoors is great for this. It just has that vibe in general. You probably don't want to go to an actual portrait studio to get this done, but you do want to take it on a high definition camera, which the way that smartphone technology has increased and gotten better throughout the years might mean that your smartphone can do exactly what you're looking for, but you should have somebody else take the photo for you. Don't take a selfie, because you should be shoulders, headshot, much like you can see here in this video. This is a headshot. That's what you're aiming for. You're aiming for a headshot. If anything else, if anything is slightly, if not a headshot, then you're aiming for waist up. But truly, you want to be relaxed, close up, and specifically, you want it to be a well-lit photo. You don't want the background to be too dark or too busy. So even like this would not make a good background for this photo. A better background would be this wall over here, because this wall is blue. It's a lighter blue. It's a little bit easier to understand and see other than this red behind me. But better than that blue, better than indoors, is the natural lighting outside with probably green or wood. I'll put a few up on the screen here that you can look at of the ones that I would use were I to suddenly get published, right? Were I to submit my novel and get an agent and have a book deal. Here's some of the photos that I would be using because of the way that they work. Like this one, I look nice, I'm looking at the camera, I'm smiling, I look relaxed. But on top of that, the background isn't too busy. It would print well with ink. It wouldn't be too much or too distracting. And as the face that will be distributed along with my book, I would be quite comfortable with any of these being the ones that are out there, right? So a couple quick do's and don'ts. Do face the camera, do smile, do be natural, right? I think I've said that 3 or 4 times now, but I really cannot emphasize it enough. You don't want to be too stiff or too proper, like that would not make a good author photo, but you do want to, relax a little bit, roll your shoulders back, have good posture, and just smile, right? So for example, let's look at a few of the author photos on this bookshelf. Let's look at this one. I don't know if you're on TikTok, but if you are, you probably know of the Iron Widow. This author photo actually is kind of a unique one, because the author, and I don't know how to pronounce their name, but they made a promise to their friends that when they got published, they would submit an author photo in a cow suit, in a cow onesie. So you can absolutely do that. I suppose if you make that bet, you should stick with it. This works really well because this is a young adult novel. That cow onesie is probably going to bring in fans from high schools and middle grade and college students even. But The Summer We Forgot. This one's by Caroline George. She has chosen to go a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more beachy with this photo. So that one is, I like how in this, like the way that they printed this cover, it's glossy. That's really nice. This cover, this book jacket on the whole is just, it just feels really nice. And the bracelet is kind of shimmery, which is great. So she has gone a little bit more beachy, very relaxed vibe. But making eye contact, she looks approachable. You know, it's a good author photo. How about Alexander Bracken has chosen to go with a pretty casual one in this one. I don't know if you... She is looking off to the side, pretty relaxed. Her hair is out of her face. I would have, as her publicist, I would have recommended that she choose one that's more straight on, where she's centered in the photo, just because it'll fit better in most online and print publications. But you have the ability to do, you have some creative freedom with your author photo. So that's an option. And Coben, he has a very distinct author photo. You can't really see it here, so I'll put it on the screen. But this one from the woods, he's very straight on, he looks very authoritative. And in his genre, because he writes crime and suspense, that works. He's also the author of like 40 some books and with multiple reprints, and he's just a very successful author. The also by Harlan Coben page takes up the entire page. So he has earned the ability to be sort of commanding in his author photo, right? You'll want to keep that in mind as you're posting, like as you're doing this. If you were a young adult author trying to do this sort of photo, you probably wouldn't reach the same sort of audience that you're aiming for, whereas he's allowed to do that because he's Harlan Coben and he can. Let's take a look at his author photo. He has a pretty stereotypical author photo, pretty pensive, I suppose you could say, where he is thinking and still approachable. He has professor vibes to me, which professor vibes as a writer is usually a really good thing. So that's a good option. But you notice how all of these photos are here. Some of them are portrait photos. A lot of them are very, very natural. If you are supposed to provide your own author photo, really, I mean, you don't want it to be too posed, but you do want it to be something that you would be okay representing you, possibly around the world and definitely online. So keep it straight on. Don't have too high of an angle or too low of an angle. Don't take a selfie. Nothing obstructing your face. No heavy shadows. Probably keep natural makeup if you're a woman. Probably keep natural makeup. Unless it is a huge part of your brand to be very specifically colorful makeup or fantasy makeup, right? Like if that's how people in your platform will recognize you. If you got big on TikTok for doing really crazy rainbow makeup, and that's just part of who you are, use that in your author photo. That will be part of how people recognize you, and they should recognize you. So like, as you're looking through, as you're deciding which photo of yours that you should use as your author photo, keep in mind the wide distribution. You want it to be very clear, very easy to print in all sorts of, like in black and white and in color. So it shouldn't be too dark, it should be well lit. You should look natural, and more than anything else, you should be representing yourself really well. So as you're deciding which ones you should use, go look at your favorite authors. You're a reader, I almost guarantee it. Go look up some authors, look up some examples, just like we just did, and then mimic a couple of them. Like if I wanted to mimic Ian Rankin, I would probably cross my legs and, you know, like that would work. Or even something like this would work. So play around with posing, play around with how the light hits you to make sure that you're getting a good photo. Book a photography session with a professional, but stay outside of their studio. Go out into nature somehow, right? Or just take, if you feel pretty comfortable and pretty confident, take one of your friends and your smartphone and take them out to the tree outside your house, and then have them do a couple close-ups so that you have one that's very straight on, a couple that are like a little bit more turned, and then a couple that are just, you know, play around with it, but because at least you'll have one or two that will work, right? So I hope that helps. Again, this is part of a series I'm doing on helping authors as they onboard to different publishing houses, as they get prepared to be published. If this is a video that helped you, I would love it if you would leave a comment and if you would subscribe. And if you have any other questions about publishing in general, the publishing industry, or editors, or editing, or how to get published, or even what it takes to be an author and how to build a platform so that you can sell more books in a way that is natural and fun for you, I would love to answer those questions. So leave a comment down below with your questions. Leave a comment with your favorite author photo. If you're looking through some and you're like, oh yeah, I loved this author's photo, I would love to go see them. Okay, until next time, I'll see you then. Make sure to go check out the rest of this series over here. This is the Industry Insights series, where I talk about how to get into the publishing industry and things you should know as an author. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.